Oh, well, well, hey there. Did did you come in to did you come in to talk about the movie Ziam? Is is that what you're doing here? So did I. Let's talk about it. Hey everybody. My name is Shane. I love zombie movies, and that's kind of what this channel is going to be about. Both obscure and popular zombie movies. We're starting out with Ziam because I just watched it. And we're obviously going to move into other zombie movies. Now, Ziam is on Netflix. So if you don't have a Netflix subscription, if you're not shelling out $15 to $20 a month, uh, good luck watching it. This movie was released in T- Thai, Thai, Thailand, Thailandese, and it is a martial arts zombie movie. Now, we're going to be getting in a little bit of spoiler talk here. We're going to be going over the basic synopsis of the movie, couple gripes, a couple likes, and overall we'll give it a little scale rating at the end. And I certainly hope that you will leave your comments and feedback in the comment section below. Let's talk about the movie if you've seen it. If you haven't seen it yet, what are you doing? Go steal your friend's Netflix account, make some popcorn, get the gang together, and give Ziam a watch. I still don't know how to say it. All in all, all in all, before we get into spoilers, not a bad movie. The last zombie movie I watched before this was 28 years later, and we'll get into that another day. So I really needed kind of just a cleansing of the palate when it comes to zombie movies, and Ziam kind of struck some good notes. Had a couple swings and misses, but you know, middle of the road zombie movie. You got what you came for, and at the end of the day, that's what you want from a zombie movie. I'm a firm believer in not making things too complicated with zombie movies. If you give me the basics, it's going to be enjoyable. You don't have to reinvent the wheel every time you make a zombie movie. If you sprinkle in some cool new things that I haven't seen before, that's awesome. But when you get a little bit too carried away and kind of lose track of the meat and substance of what makes zombie movies good, it gets a little stinky. Um, Ziam starts out a little talking going on, but we're introduced to the main character who looks exactly like hit Los Angeles Dodgers superstar Shohei Ohtani. So for the rest of the movie, I'm going to call him Shohei Ohtani. Shohei Ohtani is a former, he gave up that life, underground Muay Thai fighter who's dating, I believe her name is Rin, who's the other protagonist of this movie. Rin works at a hospital, and she's going to the night shift. Now, meanwhile, I'm gonna kind of glance past the beginning chunk of this movie because it's not really much is going on. There's a lot of exposition. You're kind of being introduced to each of these characters. They're writing messages to each other on the mirror in their apartment. It's really sweet. I guess it's something people do in Thailand. We just use like a chalkboard here, but they're writing on the mirror. They're doing little kissy messages to each other. They miss each other. Very heartwarming. Rin doesn't want to go to work. She's got to work the night shift. On her way to work, we're introduced to side characters, mother and son. Mother, not bad. We get a little bit of her. Just enough, I would say. We get just enough of the mother character. The son, on the other hand, I wanted to start going to my local dojo and learning martial arts so I could leap through the screen and roundhouse kick this child in the throat. He is, on the English dub, the most annoyingly voiced character in a zombie movie I have ever, ever, ever seen. The way he sounds, just the way he sounds every time he talks makes you want to just start choking him and throttling him. until he goes unconscious, and then you just throw his body to the zombies and be done with it. He is such a nuisance. I went back and rewatched it. Um, Number one, to kind of see a rewatchability value behind the movie. I'm putting in the extra effort for you guys. And number two, to see it in the native language of Thai, and it's a lot better. I always recommend watching foreign movies in general. Anime, I'll watch dub if I'm feeling lazy, but even then, I'll watch in its native tongue. This movie's a lot better in its native Thai tongue than than English dub. So don't watch the English dub. The other characters' voices aren't bad. It's just the kid. The kid is, in general, in my opinion at least, small rant. The kid sucks. But it's very hard to kind of voice over for kids in movies, because most of the time it's not a kid doing the voiceover, it's an adult doing a kid impression for a character that does not fit how they sound. So it's just very off-putting. Kind of threw me off. Kind of took me out of the middle half of the movie when the kids introduced. But upon the rewatch, I can say it's better in Thai. Rant over. So we start out with Shohei Ohtani and his girlfriend. She's going to work. We're introduced to the mother and child, who the mother works, I believe, in the maternity ward at the hospital, because we later see her in the maternity ward. That is that's a scene in and of itself. But we're also introduced to kind of how the zombies are brought about. In this case, they are genetically cloning fish to fight hunger, which on paper, great idea. Fish, excellent source of protein. They got omega-3. If you want to stop world hunger, especially in Thailand, awesome. These fish, though, disgusting looking. This leads to, obviously, the big zombie turnaround. There's some people eating the fish. They get sick. They go to the hospital. They die. Bada bing, bada boom. We got our zombie movie. Zombie movie kicks off maybe about 25 minutes in. Hospital immediately goes under quarantine. Everybody's locked inside. Shohei Ohtani is like, I gotta rescue my girlfriend. She's on the night shift. So he goes into the hospital. Meanwhile, we get kind of like a Rec and Rec 2 type scenario, where the military just rolls up and they're like, everybody's staying in the hospital. Not a great plan. Shohei Ohtani goes inside. It hits the fan, and we are treated to a pretty meaty and solid second half of this movie. When the infection kicks off, people start turning, zombies start attacking. A lot of great fun, a lot of kills, a lot of gore, a lot of blood. One scene that sticks out is when the little boy and Shohei Ohtani run into the boy's mom, who's been bit. She is in the maternity ward. She ends up turning into a zombie, and she eats babies. She eats babies in front of her child. This is another gripe I have with this movie. Not that scene, because that scene was pretty metal, but how the kid reacts. This kid is probably like 9. I'd say like 9 or 10 years old. And his mom dies, reanimates, eats babies in front of him. And then he also obviously witnesses a zombie outbreak, zombies getting their heads stomped in, a ton of martial arts. Shohei Ohtani is going full raid mode on him. Towards the end of the second half of the movie, a military force comes in to evacuate a VIP, who coincidentally enough is the guy who I think funded the genetic cloning of these fish that caused this whole outbreak. And they have guns, so we get some guns. Who doesn't love some guns? So there's a little bit of rooting and tooting and shooting as well. This kid witnesses all of this, and by the end of the movie, doesn't care. Uh, it's not easy to put a child into a zombie movie, and have them be a productive character that actually contributes something beyond being a crutch that kind of handicaps the other characters because then they have to babysit a child. They had to babysit this kid all the way through. Obviously, he had the classic scene of, oh, I'm getting overpowered. The kid's going to come in and wonk the zombie or the bad guy in the back of the head with, I think, fire extinguisher at one point. That's his one big crowning glory. But beyond that, I can't get past how unnecessary and annoying the kid is. From a story sense, I get it. We're going to throw a kid in. Now the stakes are raised. As a viewer, it's just annoying. You didn't need the kid. It could have just been the guy going in to rescue his girlfriend, and it would have been fine. It actually would have had a more serious tone to the movie, despite there being, there's a little bit of goof to it, beyond just the zombies in general. Um, the fact that he's doing martial arts on them is on paper silly, but I would say compared to other movies that I've seen them doing martial arts on zombies, this is probably the most well done in terms of it not being completely outrageous. Um, Pretty decent martial arts scenes. I just watched The Raid and The Raid 2. So which I think were also Thai movies. Um, so my expectations were up here when it came to martial arts. It left a little bit to be desired. Some of it looked a little stiff. Obviously, I'm not gonna get up and do a spinning wheel kick anytime soon. So I'm not gonna sit here and criticize someone who clearly knows how to do Muay Thai and does it very well. But some of the choreography and some of the fights just felt a little claustrophobic. I wish they gave it a little bit more room to breathe and the scene to play out. I feel like they could have done a lot more with it, but what they did with it was good. You get some good martial arts in here. There's a fight that he has with a private security guard towards the end of the movie as well. That's good. It's good. The martial arts is good. Um, this is billed as a zombie martial arts Muay Thai movie, so for that to kind of be a centerpiece means it's going to be pretty important. They do it justice by the end. And if martial arts aren't your thing, guess what? People are getting whacked with metal poles. People are getting whacked with uh, metal sticks. People are getting whacked with fire extinguishers. People are getting whacked with just about anything. There's a big whack fest going on in the hospital throughout this whole ordeal as well. So you get a lot of melee, you get a lot of martial arts, and then, as I mentioned before, you get a little bit of rooting and tooting and shooting as well when the private security comes in to rescue the VIP. Obviously, who'd have thunk the VIP turns out to be a bad guy? Double cross. What's going to happen? I'm not going to give everything away. You can go watch the movie. But at the end of the day, the people who you expect to live, live. And the big closing finale of the movie is the hospital blows up. I've seen some people complaining about this online. Here's the thing. Here's the thing with zombie movies. You're not gonna solve the problem by the end of the movie. If you do, that's a little silly. If all of a sudden you go, everything's better, and the movie ends, it's stupid. So for them just to kind of blow it up and be done with it, it's go back and watch Return of the Living Dead and complain about that. It worked there, and it works for this movie. It's there's a problem. They don't know how to deal with it. We're gonna blow it up. So they blow up the hospital as the characters get away. The final shot of the movie is Shohei Ohtani emerging from the rubble somehow. Which before this video, I actually wanted to look up the statistical odds of surviving a hospital explosion. from the roof when it's hit with a missile while simultaneously fighting zombies. Because I would guess it's probably close to zero. Somehow Shohei Ohtani pulls it off. Shohei Ohtani presumably lives. He might be undead. Who knows? I don't think they're going to make a sequel. If they do, there's a lot that can be improved upon. But at the same time, it was entertaining. Uh, as soon as the infection started kicking off, as soon as people started turning, as soon as they started making their way through the hospital, it was a fun watch. I was very reluctant at the beginning just because of how much kind of exposition was being thrown. Uh, to me, when it's a zombie movie, it doesn't matter. Just cut to the meat and potatoes. As soon as they cut to the meat and potatoes, great stuff. Couldn't ask for more. About maybe at the beginning of the third act, we get a little curveball, thrown at us. Um, the sprinkler system in the hospital set off when they light a guy on fire, and the sprinklers go off. They douse the zombies with water, and I don't know if you remember from the beginning of this video, but I mentioned that this little apocalypse was brought on by mutated fish. So when water touches the skin of these infected, they go full Dagon mode. They get the big, sort of like shark mouth, big bass mouth, and they mutate. Beyond that, not really much of a change. They were running to begin with. They were highly physical zombies. They're not shamblers. Asian zombie cinema, I don't think I've seen kind of shambling slow zombies. Usually they do the fast ones that have that classic, like, their like midsection like pops up and they like roll around and they like a lot of body contortion with their zombies, and it's very cool. But at the same time, a little bit played out. You know what to expect with these. You see it in Train to Busan. You see it in All of Us Are Dead. You see it in I Am Alive. You see it in all of these kind of Asian zombie movies, but it's cool. You don't see it in American zombie movies, so it's a nice little change of pace there. But by the end of it, as I said, the hospital blows up. The zombies presumably blow up, and everybody except for Shohei Ohtani is blown up. So that's Zyme. That's the run through for Zyme. Uh, there's it's a good movie. It's not great. It's not amazing. It's not breaking new ground. It's not the best Asian zombie movie I've ever seen. It's not in the top three. It's maybe in the top five because I think I've only seen like five. But it's not terrible. If you got Netflix, if you got an hour and a half to kill, uh, give it a watch. Things I liked about this movie, because I do have to give it some flowers here. I got to give it a little bouquet of thumbs up and things that I like sprinkled on top. As I said before, the martial arts, even though they left a little bit to be desired, it was fun. It was a fun change of pace beyond having watched mainly zombie movies where people are just running around shooting zombies in the face. It's nice to kind of have a different approach to it, more hands-on type thing, where the zombie's kind of in your face and you're doing spin kicks and punches and stuff. Unorthodox. Wouldn't advise it in a zombie apocalypse. Wouldn't say, hey, go out and start punching zombies, especially if they develop large bass mouths when touched with water. Not the best plan. But if you're Shohei Ohtani, anything's possible. If you're on a mission to rescue your girlfriend in a hospital overrun by zombies, that's another thing I really liked about this movie. A hospital setting is not something we really see in a lot of zombie movies. Obviously, it's where outbreaks happen. It's where patient zero is usually located. At one point or another, hospitals sometimes make an appearance. Dawn of the Dead '04, the beginning of the movie, she was in a hospital when people were starting to get sick. Obviously, we don't see any outbreaks happen there. That would have been a cool movie to see an outbreak happen in a hospital. The 2004 Dawn of the Dead. There is a big hospital outbreak scene in the Day of the Dead, I believe 2007 or 2008 remake, which was the stupidest effing movie ever. Maybe next to Day of the Dead Bloodlines. But I'm biased. Day of the Dead is my favorite zombie movie of all time. We'll get into that in a different day. I'll do a whole chef's kiss to that beautiful, beautiful movie. Um, but for the most part, we don't see a lot of zombie movies specifically taking place in a hospital. Yummy comes to mind, I think it's called. That's a European zombie movie. I believe it came out on Shudder maybe like 4 or 5 years ago. That wasn't bad. I think that was more like a plastic surgery hospital than like an ER all around hospital. I'm not like a hospital expert or anything, but that's probably the closest thing I can think of a movie specifically taking place inside of a hospital. That's a zombie movie. Great setting, very scary setting, very terrifying, confined. Uh, the outbreak happens there. I can see why it's hard to circle a whole movie around that premise, because usually if you're inside of a hospital, it hits the fan, you're going to leave the hospital, and then it's just going to take place wherever you decide to go from there. So to kind of stretch out an hour and a half movie inside of a hospital with an outbreak occurring and keeping people within the confines of the hospital without getting repetitive and annoying, and kind of throwing in new fun things along the way. It's tough to do. But the movie does a good job of keeping that portion entertaining, and it made me wish that we could kind of just chill in the hospital and kind of watch it unfold a little bit more. You get little subplots. I talked a little bit about the little kid's mom turning into a zombie and just chowing down on some babies. There's another scene where there's a guy and his father. His father is very elderly. He's in a hospital bed, being sick, and the guy's like, "You're gonna die." So he overdoses. Presumably the dad first. You don't see him. You don't see him stab the dad, but then he stabs himself with, I think, morphine, and just puts himself uh, puts himself out of out of commission, um, because they can't escape. And then zombies come in and obviously feast on them as the characters escape through a window. So little side views like that where you're not seeing the main protagonist, because obviously the main protagonist for the most part is going to be around until the end. I'm fine, kind of moving the camera off them for a little bit and seeing how other people who aren't main characters are just going to get obliterated by this infection. These zombies are not, they're not clumsy zombies. They're conveniently clumsy zombies when they're fighting the protagonist. They should easily overpower and destroy the protagonist when he's, fighting them. But for the most part, they slaughter everybody else. Everybody else just gets pretty fast. Another scene that comes to mind, another hospital scene in The Sadness, the also an Asian Korean, albeit Korean zombie movie that takes place in the Crossed universe. If you ever read the graphic novel The Crossed, pretty gross. Nothing as disgusting as what happens in that movie, in that hospital scene. And again, that is a movie I will very happily review, because that was a very entertaining, albeit probably one of the most disturbing zombie movies I've ever seen in my entire life. The zombie baby scene maybe comes a little close to giving it, a little nudge, but if you want to watch a very disgusting bleh, zombie movie, The Sadness. The sadness it will make you very sad. But back to Ziam, all in all, I don't want to take up too much time. The movie is only an hour and a half. So again, fun little watch. If I got to give it a rating, we're gonna start things off. I'll give it a 5.5. And that's a generous 5.5. My rule of thumb: anything that's a 1, don't watch it. Anything that's a 2 to 4, eh, you gave it a shot. Anything that's like a 5 to like a 7, worth a watch. 7 to 9, good movie. 10, that's where Day of the Dead lives. That's where Day of the Dead 1985 lives. But that's the review of Ziam. We got a little sidetracked. This is my first video. I'm a little nervous boy on camera, so obviously, I've rambled a little bit here and there. But all in all, I hope you've enjoyed the video. If you like it, drop a little subscribe down in that little subscribe box. That would mean the world to me. And jump in the comment section and tell me what you thought of the movie Ziam. Ziam, or correct me on how to say it, because I'm all over the place with it. But thought it was a fun movie, giving it a 5.5. Give it a watch if you got Netflix on and nothing to do tonight, tomorrow night, on the weekend. And let me know what you think. Again, my name is Shane, and I love zombie movies, and I liked Ziam. You guys have an awesome day, and until the next time, I'll see you.